Have you ever encountered a situation where all the signs pointed to a disastrous outcome, but somehow, a surprisingly positive result occurred? Now, imagine a story where life itself is at stake, where faith and courage are tested to their limits. This is the story of Daniel, a man whose unshakable faith sustained him during one of the most critical moments of his life, the lion's den. In a context of oppression and betrayal, where a simple prayer could mean death, Daniel did not bow to the pressures. He continued to kneel and pray, defying an unjust law with the courage of a warrior in battle. What drove this man to face such risk with such deep confidence? That's precisely what we'll explore, revealing not only the miracle of Daniel's survival but also the underlying principles that led to his salvation and vindication. Prepare to dive into a narrative that defies logic and reveals the power of true faith. Daniel's story is not just an ancient lesson but a timeless guide on how to face adversity with unwavering faith. By understanding what allowed him to survive the lion's den, you'll discover how these same lessons can be applied to your own life to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Stay with us as we explore how Daniel's faith and courage not only saved him from the lion's den, but also set a lasting example of divine justice and protection. When we talk about Daniel's rise to power in the Babylonian court, we're diving into a narrative that is as rich in teachings as it is in historical detail. Imagine, if you will, a young Hebrew, taken from his home to a foreign land, facing the colossal challenge of adapting to a new political and cultural system. Daniel, a man of unwavering faith, found a way not just to survive but to thrive under Babylonian rule. His journey was not a mere coincidence but the result of fervent devotion and a constant quest for divine wisdom. Amid the opulence of the court, Daniel did not allow himself to be seduced by the riches and privileges that Babylon offered. Instead, he stood firm in his faith, demonstrating a quiet courage that contrasted with the grandeur of the environment around him. His wisdom, a reflection of his deep connection with God, earned him a prominent place in the administration of the kingdom. Thus, his story becomes an inspiring example of how true integrity and commitment to high principles can open doors even in the most adverse circumstances. Daniel's rise also illustrates the importance of maintaining unwavering faith amid challenges and temptations. Every decision he made was an affirmation of his values and beliefs, demonstrating that true faith can be a powerful transformative force. In a setting where many might have compromised, Daniel remained steadfast, proving that true divine protection is not just a matter of miracles but also of courageous actions and choices. As we reflect on Daniel's journey, it's impossible not to think about how each of us can apply these lessons in our own lives. In a competitive work environment or challenging personal situations, integrity and faith can serve as a compass, guiding us through difficulties and helping us reach our own powers in foreign lands, whether literal or figurative. And so, Daniel's story invites us to consider how we can stay true to our principles even when the world around us tries to lead us astray. Daniel's journey is not just an ancient narrative but a life manual for all who face similar challenges. As we continue to explore his story, we'll begin to understand more deeply how his faith played a crucial role in his rise. In the following paragraphs, we'll delve into how envy and conspiracy began to form against Daniel, revealing the complexity of the challenges he faced in his position of power. Stay tuned, as Daniel's story is about to become even more intriguing and revealing. The stage was set, and the plot was about to unfold. Daniel, with his remarkable rise and unmatched wisdom, became a central figure in the Babylonian court. However, as often happens when someone stands out, enemies driven by envy emerged. These antagonists, overshadowed by Daniel's brilliance and the divine favor he seemed to possess, decided it was time to act. Envy can be a powerful and destructive force, and in Daniel's case, it took the form of a subtle and treacherous conspiracy. Daniel's opponents, aware of his steadfastness in his faith, found a loophole in Babylonian law that they could manipulate to their advantage. They knew that Daniel's true weakness was his unwavering devotion to God and used this as leverage to achieve their goal. They presented King Darius with a new law, seemingly innocent but with a well-hidden trap. A law that prohibited any kind of prayer to any god or man except the king himself, under penalty of death. The intent was clear: to create a situation where Daniel, known for his daily prayers, would be forced to choose between his faith and his life. The manipulation process was not simple. It required cunning and a well-thought-out strategy to get the new law passed. Envy, when mixed with politics, can create a poisonous environment where even justice becomes a game of interests. The conspirators exploited the king's pride and vanity, portraying the law as a means of consolidating his power and ensuring unity under his leadership. What we can learn from this plot is the ability to recognize and respond to conspiracies that may form in our own contexts, whether personal or professional. Instead of being shaken by others' envy, it's essential to maintain integrity and clarity of vision, just as Daniel did. How we handle adversity often defines our character and our ability to overcome obstacles. As we delve deeper into this story, Daniel's courage in facing this plot stands out. He did not let himself be swayed by pressure or threats, remaining faithful to his principles and to God. In the next section, we'll see how Daniel maintained his unwavering faith, even when the law clearly conflicted with his beliefs. When Darius's law was proclaimed, it was clear that Daniel's life was at risk. But what makes Daniel's story truly remarkable is his reaction to this challenge. Instead of complying with the new law, Daniel continued his daily practice of prayer, even knowing that this could lead to his condemnation. His unshakable faith not only challenged him to follow his beliefs, but also to face the direct consequences of his devotion. Daniel's decision to continue praying was not just an act of faith, it was a courageous demonstration of resistance in the face of oppression. He knew that his daily prayer practice could be used against him, but that didn't stop him. Daniel's courage in choosing fidelity to God over personal safety is a powerful example of how faith can be a beacon in the midst of adversity. This kind of courage, which defies conventions and unjust laws, can be extremely inspiring for all of us. In the modern environment, where we often face pressures to abandon our principles in favor of convenience or acceptance, Daniel's story offers a valuable lesson. When confronted with dilemmas that challenge our integrity, it's crucial to remember the importance of staying true to our values. Daniel's courage is a testament to how solid faith can sustain us even when we face the greatest challenges. Imagine yourself in Daniel's position, facing a law that not only threatens your life but also directly attacks your religious practice. The determination to follow his beliefs despite the imminent risk illustrates the depth of his trust in God. By applying this teaching in our lives, we can seek ways to remain faithful to our principles, even when this puts us in difficult situations. In the next segment, we'll explore the dramatic outcome of his courageous decision, the miracle in the lion's den. The divine protection that Daniel experienced is a central aspect of the story, and the event that followed demonstrates the depth of faith and divine intervention. Get ready to discover how Daniel's faith not only saved him but also became a powerful demonstration of divine protection and deliverance. The climax of Daniel's story occurs in the dreaded lion's den, a setting that is both literal and symbolic for the ultimate test of his faith. After being denounced and condemned to death, Daniel was thrown into the den, a place where the expectation was clear. He would be devoured by the hungry lions. However, what happened next is an impressive testimony to divine protection that transcends all human expectations. When Daniel was cast into the den, he wasn't just facing death. He was confronting a situation that seemed impossible to overcome. But, surprisingly, divine intervention was swift and effective. An angel was sent by God to protect Daniel, shutting the mouths of the lions and ensuring there was harmony between the predators and their prey. The description of the miracle is fascinating and offers a powerful insight into God's ability to protect and save those who remain faithful to Him. This event is not just a biblical miracle. It's a concrete illustration of how divine protection can manifest in situations that seem desperate. For Daniel, the lion's den became a living testimony of how faith and loyalty can attract God's direct intervention. It's as if nature itself was subordinate to the divine will, transforming a place of condemnation into a space of safety and peace. For those of us facing challenges and threats in our lives, Daniel's story reminds us that divine protection can appear in unexpected ways. Faith doesn't guarantee the absence of problems, but it can ensure that even in the midst of danger, there is a greater force watching over us. The safety Daniel experienced in the lion's den encourages us to seek and trust in that divine protection, even when the situation seems hopeless. As we move to the next segment, We'll explore the consequences of this miracle and how divine justice manifested in relation to Daniel and his accusers. Daniel's story doesn't end with the miracle in the lion's den. It evolves into a demonstration of how divine justice and vindication unfold in response to faith and integrity. Daniel's miraculous rescue from the lion's den not only confirmed his faith but also established a powerful lesson about divine justice. After being taken out of the den without a scratch, King Darius, deeply impressed by Daniel's survival, recognized the power of Daniel's God. The tables turned, and those who conspired against Daniel faced the very fate they had intended for him. The divine justice that emerged from this situation is both stark and definitive. The conspirators were cast into the den, along with their families, and unlike Daniel, they didn't survive. This outcome serves as a stark reminder of the principle that unjust actions and malice often rebound on the perpetrators. What Daniel's story illustrates is that divine justice may not always be immediate, but it is inevitable. His survival was not just a personal victory but a public demonstration of God's power and justice. In our own lives, this story can be a source of comfort and reassurance. It shows that even when we face injustice, and when the odds seem stacked against us, there is a higher justice that can intervene. While we may not always see it immediately, maintaining integrity and faith can eventually lead to vindication, just as it did for Daniel. Daniel's story, therefore, concludes not just with his survival but with a powerful message. Those who act with integrity and faith will ultimately see divine justice prevail. It's a story that has inspired countless generations and continues to serve as a guide for how to navigate challenges with faith and courage. As we conclude this exploration of Daniel's journey, it's clear that his story is much more than an ancient tale. It's a profound lesson on faith, courage, and divine justice that resonates deeply with all who seek to live a life of integrity and trust in a higher power. Whether facing lions, conspiracies, or personal challenges, Daniel's example shows us that faith can indeed move mountains and shut the mouths of lions.